This is too far away. I think so. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for this video I'm talking about the pros and cons of living in Southern California, and I've lived here officially a year and I've really been wanting to make this video, but I wanted to wait till I lived here at least a year first so that I can have like an accurate, I guess, list of pros and cons. And I moved here January 21st and then we signed our lease January 30th. So yeah, and these are just like my opinion, things that I've observed. I don't want anyone to get like offended over the cons or anything like that, but I have them all written down, so I might be looking at my computer to see what they are because I can't remember all of them right off the top of my head. But I'm just going to get started. So for pros, I have obviously the weather. That's probably the #1 thing that people talk about when they're talking about like LA and like Southern California in general, is like the sunny, warm weather. And it is pretty true for the most part, and I would definitely call it a pro. Another thing that I think is really exciting about living in this area is that there's so much to do, just like in general, in like every category pretty much. And there's like a lot of restaurants, there's a lot of shopping areas, there's just like events always happening, and there's just like, in general, there's like a ton of stuff to do. If you're bored, you can just like always find something to do. And I think that makes living here like worth it, because you don't really have a lot of like time where you're like just like sitting around and you don't like know what to do, because that used to happen to me all the time when I was living in Indiana, and it was kind of sad. And yeah, for that, like if you're wanting to go shopping and you want to go to a specific store, you usually don't have to drive very far because there's like tons of locations all over for the most part, depending on what store you're going to, but or like restaurant, but that's like usually the case if it's a chain. And then #3, I have the beaches. I am the type of person that has to live by a big body of water, whether that's like the Great Lakes or a big lake, which I'm not necessarily content with, but like I have to have something near me. Sorry, the light is changing. I feel like I'm literally sitting in the dark right now. And the beaches here are really pretty, mostly like south, like Laguna and all of those places I think are the prettiest, or really far north like around Big Sur. But everywhere they're pretty much like really nice beaches, other than Long Beach, but I don't really want to talk about that. And I mean, the water is cold, but at least you have like the ocean right near you, right next to you, or pretty close to you, and you can do all sorts of things like go boating, go surfing, you know, bodyboarding, you can go fishing, you can go snorkeling or scuba diving. You do need a wetsuit for like a lot of those things, but I don't know, there's like tons of dolphins, tons of whales, and like marine life, seals, things like that that you can see, and it just makes it like really exciting. For the next one, a lot of people also move here for work, and I'd say there's a lot of opportunities depending on like, I don't even know if it's depending on what field you live in, because there's like such a big population here that there's probably like an industry, like there's probably jobs in every industry, but I don't really know exactly, but I think there's a lot of opportunity here in general. So that is #4. Okay, and for me, probably the main reason that I moved here is because there's just like tons to do in nature, and I'm just like one of those people that really likes to do stuff outside. If you live in California, you probably know that there's like a ton to do here, although I talk to people sometimes and they don't know about like half of the stuff around them, so it's like kind of confusing. But yeah, there's lots of like state parks, there's lots of national parks, there's just like, there's even like really nice city parks, and there's hiking. You can go pretty much do like any outdoor sport, just all of that type of stuff. It's really fun and there's just tons to do. Another fun thing to do is go whale watching. I did that recently and we literally saw like probably like over 300 dolphins of like all 4 of the species that live here, and that was like actually really affordable. It was only $16, so I highly recommend just like doing things that are around you and like looking for fun stuff to do like that. Okay, another pro is that there's like lots of interesting food. If you're one of those people that has like a very specific diet, like you're vegan or you like to eat all those trendy things, or I don't really know. I know there's a lot of like strange foods that people eat nowadays, but I'm sure you can find them around here, as opposed to like living in a small city in the rest of the United States where the grocery stores are really limited and you pretty much have to buy things online. You can't really like do a lot with that, but living here there's access to like all sorts of foods, so you can just eat whatever you want pretty much. Something that goes along with that is that a lot of those foods are actually cheaper here because there's more of them, like more competition I think, and foods that are grown here are especially cheaper. Like, I don't know, I find that avocados are really cheap and a lot of people love avocados. I love avocados. So yeah, not everything is more expensive. Things that we have abundance of are cheaper, I think, that I've noticed. And then another pro, like this is the last one, but I feel like in general you kind of feel like there's more happening in Southern California than a lot of places in the country, and you just feel like you're more of like a part of something. It's really hard to explain. I'm just gonna go to the cons. You probably don't know what I'm talking about for that last one. A con for me is also the weather, because it's not as sunny as people lead you to believe. In the winter, it's like pretty cloudy and it rains a lot and the weather gets pretty chilly, so it's not always sunny. Don't think that like every single day it's gonna be sunny and you can just like wear shorts and stuff. I don't think I've worn like a skirt or shorts since like maybe September. I don't know, maybe, yeah, I think like September is the last time I wore something like for warmer weather. Okay, this one is probably the biggest con for me, is the drivers are so bad. I'm not even like exaggerating. It's just like so frustrating driving around, and people will cut you off, don't use turn signals, they don't let you over when you need to get over, they speed everywhere, or they go ridiculously slow for no reason. They will, I don't know, just like everything. I actually had my car totaled within the first 5 months of living here. My car was totaled, and I'd only had that car for a year. A drunk driver hit my car while we were driving on the highway, and it was like 4 other cars involved, but mine was the only one that got totaled. And he was just like really irresponsible. He didn't even have a driver's license, and he had his daughter in the back seat. She wasn't in a car seat, and he was driving drunk, and he didn't have car insurance. So that's just kind of like an example of what happens here. I've heard about, pretty much everyone I talk to has been in a car accident, and that's definitely not the case where I'm from. Drivers here are really scary. So another con is street parking. Because there's so many people here, there's not enough like parking lots for cars, and there's a lot of street parking. You have to parallel park, and if you live here, you should make sure you're really good at parallel parking, because I've had so many people like hit my car and then not report it, not do anything about it, and just drive away. I've seen totaled cars on the side of the road where someone just like hits it and just leaves it. It's just like really awful. And obviously a big one is the traffic, which I don't even mind so much because I feel safer when I'm sitting in traffic than I do like driving really fast, because no one's really moving that much. But it does take a really long time to get anywhere, and that is the truth. It's not like over exaggerated. The traffic here is really bad. something that I've noticed that kind of like I think makes the traffic worse is that stoplights seem to be like set, like their timer seems to be set backwards. I don't know if you've ever like paid attention to stoplights, but where I'm from, like the light before, like say there's two red lights in a row, the light before yours will turn green and then yours will turn green and then you can go and then you usually get the next green light. But here it'll be like your light turns green and then you go to a red light, and then sometimes if there's enough people you can't even like get to the next light because they can't move forward, so it's like the lights are like set backwards and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so obviously like probably the number one con is that living here is really expensive, and that I think the most extreme thing about living here that costs so much is buying a house, but also rent can be really expensive. I think mine is pretty cheap compared to a lot of other areas in Southern California, but like one of my life goals is to buy a house, and I don't want to do it like when I'm 50. I want to do it much sooner than that, and it's like kind of sad that I probably can't do it in Southern California, so I don't know how long I'll live here, but yeah, living is really expensive. Okay, another thing that's probably not a big deal to a lot of people, but like I mentioned, there's a lot of stores and like a lot of options for shopping, but the stores that they do have are really small. They're not like the 3 or 4 story stores that you'll have in like big cities. I mean, I know LA is a big city, but they don't have like the massive shopping areas. They're all kind of like smaller stores, and then they have more locations, so they don't have as many options. I'm talking about like stores like H&M, Forever 21, like all of those type of places. So it can be really frustrating trying to find something, or like you'll just go into a store and you feel like they have nothing, and then you'll go to a different location and they have all the same stuff, and there's just not a lot of options. Okay, this one like really gets me. LA and Southern California have terrible pizza. It's really depressing. Cannot find a single good pizza place. We've tried so many and they're just all like kind of subpar or like even disgusting. Like some of the worst pizza I've ever had has been while I was living here. And if you know of any like good pizza places, really good pizza places, then let me know, because I'm having like a lot of difficulty finding them. And pizza is my favorite food, so that's like a really big deal to me. And since I'm from like Chicago area, I think like I didn't expect pizza to be so bad here because this is like a major city, but I don't know, for whatever reason it's just awful. So don't come here expecting to find good pizza. Okay, another one is the population density. I know I'm contributing to that by moving here, but the population density can be really overwhelming at times. It's just like so many people crammed into such a small area, and basically it's just kind of like shocking when you get here, because you hear about it but you don't really know what it's like until you actually get here and see it for yourself. And like, I don't mean like take a vacation, I mean like live with it on a daily basis. An example of that is the DMV. It is horrible here. You have to wait like for hours in line, and I know right now they're backed up like 6 to 8 weeks with just like processing registration and stuff like that, so it's just like really bad. And the last one, I think that in general people who live here are just more selfish and kind of self-absorbed. Don't mean that in an offensive way, just more of like a factual way that I've noticed that, okay, when you're walking, an example is like when you're walking on the sidewalk towards someone, usually they go on the left side, you go on the right side, and people like won't move over for you. And that's just like basic sidewalk etiquette. And I think that just has something to do with like the mindset of people here. Also, people don't let you over when you need to get over to get like onto the highway or any like change lanes or anything like that. If you've grown up here, you probably don't really notice it, but if you come from like somewhere like the Midwest, you would definitely notice that. And I think these are all the ones that I have for now. Let me know what you think about them, and if you're planning on moving to this area, keep these in mind and maybe consider them a little bit. I'm definitely not like regretting moving here. I love living here, but I probably won't live here forever. So, and I'll see you in my next video.